Today I'm going to tell you about the 3 biggest mistakes that ruin metallic epoxy floors, and I'm going to show you how we try to avoid them. The first big mistake that a lot of people make is that they try to coat a floor that's not smooth. When you're doing the metallic coat, the pigment always finds all the low spots or the high spots in the floor, so if you don't patch the floor and get it smooth, then you'll be able to see the shape of the lines in the floor, or you'll be able to see the shape of divots that are in the floor. And another common mistake that people make is that they don't get their primer perfectly smooth and glassy before they move on to their metallic coat. So the goal of this primer is to have a perfectly glassy floor that has a metallic color so you can't see any of the patching or see any of the texture of the concrete underneath it. So if this cures out and it has imperfections in it, we need to fix the imperfections and make sure that the floor is glassy smooth before we do our metallic coat. And just so you know, here's an example of what it looks like when you put metallic over a patch. And here's an example of not getting your prep perfect before you put your primer down. And the third mistake that people make when doing metallic epoxy floors is that they either use the wrong epoxy or they didn't get the material on the ground fast enough. For metallic epoxy to look good, you really need for it to have time on the floor to float out and move around. If the material is setting up while you're putting it on the floor, it's going to look really man-made, and that is not a good look. I looked really hard to find a floor to give you an example of what I'm talking about, and all I could find was the floor that we did in 2017. The homeowner did this metallic epoxy himself, and it had roller marks all over the place. I didn't have any pictures from before we started, but if you look on the right side of the screen, you can see there's a bunch of roller marks, and it was like that over the whole floor.